Completely barbaric is how they say. So, you know, what would you want to say to the children of Pakistan, to all those families that lost their children?
To the children, I just wanted to say that stay safe, stay aware, and don't go to the school till this whole thing gets over. And to
Is
the
not going to school a solution, really?
for the timing, yes.
For the time being.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's the sense of numbness. But, you know, if I sort of, if you think that in India you go to school, do you think the security should be beefed up here? Will students feel more sort of afraid in terms of going to school?
Well, it should be very well secured, because going to school for children, they have to go to school every day, so it is necessary higher
He
security.
thinks that children should not go to school for the time being. What will your message be to the children of Pakistan?
I think the security should be awakened up and the security should be more tight, and I think the government should take actions, and the school too, they should teach children and make them aware about these situations, and they should have some drills or some practice sessions so that they can fight these situations.
If the Pakistan government doesn't really act now, it is an opportunity completely lost. I have a young parent with me as well. Isha is here. Isha, now, you know, when your son goes to school every day, has this incident really sort of changed you as a person, as a parent?
Well, to be honest, you know, I don't really feel safe sending my kid to school like this if there's no security system in place. But the question, end of the day, is how many gunmen will they post, if at all they beef up the security? How many gunmen, and how efficient are they going to be to face this kind of brutal acts which they
Will
put?
it have a psychological impact on kids also if you raise security too much around school?
Definitely yes, because what answers are you going to give to those little kids? You know, they're really not aware that why this is happening, and if they have gunmen running around, you know, where they should not be, you know, this kind of security tightened up, and they will definitely question.
So, you know, to you I would like to ask, India and Pakistan were not talking diplomatically, but now they are united in this moment of grief. Can civil societies come across to fight terrorism?
The act that has happened is definitely completely inhuman, and it is not only confined to one nation, that is Pakistan, but also to all other nations of the world, and it has left a deep impact on everybody. So, in my opinion, I think definitely civil society should definitely come together, and it would make a huge difference, as it would aware the people of.
What's your final message to the children of Pakistan?
The children of Pakistan should definitely be alert, as the nation of Pakistan is definitely known for its terrorism.
But I think somewhere, Rajdeep, that is the tragedy of the situation, where people are expecting that when you can't expect really much from the government, from the army, that if they are not being able to provide security to the children, voices here saying the children themselves need to stay alert and maybe stay away from school. That is very, very unfortunate to hear as well, Rajdeep.
That's right. There is, of course, the fear factor, but at the end of the day, we all have to go to school. We all have to go to office. That's the way. The only way you can defeat terror is to continue with your daily routine. And that's the question I want to pose in Kolkata. Manogya, do the children there believe that, are they fearful of the terrorists, or do they believe the only way to fight terror is for children to go to school every day, day after day, not change their life? What is their message to their fellow students in Pakistan?
Well, Rajdeep, the first thing that we've been talking about these students is they've realized that West Bengal has been a safe haven of terrorists, and suddenly we've seen a surge of terror activities as far as West Bengal is concerned. This, besides the fact that they have been expressing solidarity, and let's talk to a few students from different colleges and schools here in Kolkata. Gaurav, give me an idea on what do you think about the fact that expressing solidarity with Pakistan, we have been having differences with our neighboring country, but this is a time of grief and we should unite over it.
It's the gravity of the loss is something that I can't even put in words. I mean, kids of that age, and 130 odd of them have died. They would have been the future of any country. They were the future of that country, and any amount of solidarity that we express cannot even come close to the amount of grief that the families of those kids are going through right now. And not that prior terrorist activities have not scared me enough, but right now I am literally petrified regarding our state, regarding the state of the kids of any country for that matter, and particularly India. I mean, they did not leave kids of their own country.
What about you? What do you perceive about it?
I feel very bad about those children who have get killed, because they any children are the future of their country. Now, killing the children, I don't think it's an act of human being. They are just animals who killed them.
And my last question to you, what is your take on it?
The way they have killed, seems that they doesn't have a heart only. 132, the figure cannot be forgotten easily.
Well, absolutely. It's not only demeaning but also stressful activity that they've done, an act of cowardice that we could not expect from any normal human being.
Let's go from Kolkata. We're going to take a break at this point. We're going to travel across the country just to get a sense as to how one incident can change the mood, particularly among younger Indians. Remember, the fact is that Pakistan continues to harbor terrorists. The fact is Hafiz Saeed continues to make threats against India. But just for this moment, it appears what has happened in Pakistan has in a sense united people in this moment of tragedy. In fact, as I said, students across the country observed 2 minutes of silence to pay homage to Peshawar's victims. What they have realized is that terrorism has no boundaries, or what Pakistan should realize is that the enemy also lies within. Managing editor Rahul Kanwal spoke to students in the capital. This is what they had to say.
Schools across India marked a 2-minute remembrance this morning to pay sympathy and tribute to those who died in the dastardly terror attack in Peshawar. Every evening we hear from the regular pundits on television, those who come with fixed points of view. But what do young people, the future of this country, think about the attack in Pakistan, the nature of India-Pakistan relations, and the way forward? Do they think of Pakistan as a victim or as a perpetrator of terror? We're today at the Delhi Public School in Noida, and joining us is the future of our country. And I want to start by asking people about, when did you find out about the terror attack in Pakistan, and what was going through your head when you saw young kids being targeted by the barbarians who call themselves the Taliban?
See, I got to know about this yesterday itself through Reuters. So what I think of this barbaric attack is that mere revenge because of what happened in the military flush out in Waziristan, carried out by the Pakistani army itself, and the retaliation by these terrorist outfits isn't good, isn't something that is good, isn't even legitimate for them to do so. Yes, these are the kids of our future, and by putting their lives on the line, by putting them out there and killing them for a mere revenge, acting like a 5-year-old immature kid isn't how you should supposed to be dealing with things like arms and ammunition in your hand. These are very dangerous things, and you need to take care of the fact that you don't go out there doing something wrong and then blaming it and just stating a mere statement that we were just there to attack the army personnel and not the children. That is very, very careless of them, and that is how they shouldn't do it.
And the worst part about the Taliban is that these barbarians actually believe that they're going to heaven and they have fairies waiting for them in heaven. And yet they have the audacity to go, and the cowardness to go out and target children. What was going through your head? Because you're at a similar school. It happened in Peshawar. India is vulnerable as well.
See, I think that is what they justify their acts in the name of protecting their religion. But in no religion it says that you need to use violence to protect your religion or to promote your religion. So I think these justifications are baseless and an excuse that not just defames the people but also a religion. I mean, that is why a lot of people think that anyone who follows Islam might be a terrorist, which is not the case. People, you can't say that a person who follows Islam is a terrorist. He might be a well-behaved human being.
Across the world, including eminent personalities, condemned Tuesday's deadly Taliban attack. Prime Minister Narendra Modi expressing his anguish over the attack, speaking to Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif. US President Obama vowing to stand by Pakistan in its hour of grief. British Prime Minister David Cameron calling it a dark day for humanity, and the United Nations Ban Ki-moon defining the attack as rank cowardice. Just listen in.
The hearts of the world go out to the parents and families who have lost loved ones in the horrific attack at the school in Peshawar. I condemn this heinous act in the strongest possible terms. No cause can justify such brutality. No grievance can excuse such horror.
The scale of what has happened in Pakistan, I think, just simply defies belief. It is a dark, dark day for humanity when something on this scale happens with no justification. There's not a belief system in the world that can justify this sort of appalling act.
The Prime Minister Sharif said, "These are my children, it is my loss." Well, this morning, wherever you live, wherever you are, those are our children. And this is the world's loss. This act of terror angers and shakes all people of conscience, and we condemn it in the strongest terms possible. The perpetrators must be brought to justice.
मुझे बहुत इस बात का अफसोस है कि दुनिया में ऐसा भी हो सकता है कि 100 से ज़्यादा बच्चों को एक साथ खड़े करके गोलियों से भून दिया गया हो। मैं ईश्वर से प्रार्थना करता हूँ कि जो उनके माँ बाप हैं उनको ईश्वर शांति दे, साहस दे ऐसी हालत को सहन करने की।
We stand with all those families and all those children who are injured right now and who are suffering through this big trauma. And now it is time that we unite, and I call upon the international community, leaders in Pakistan, all political parties and everyone, that we should stand up together and fight against terrorism, and we should make sure that every child gets safe and quality education.
Now, India, as I said, has been standing by Pakistan in this moment of grief, even though the two countries haven't really formally resumed diplomatic ties. National Security Advisor Ajit Doval met with the Pakistani High Commissioner Abdul Basit in the national capital, expressed his condolences to the families of the 132 children who died in that attack. Here's what he wrote in the visitor's diary. The whole of India is shocked and stunned to learn about this unbelievable carnage by the terrorists. No words are adequate to express our pain and agony on the killing of innocent school children. My condolences to all the bereaved families and the people of Pakistan.
In Pakistan?
Well, I think I have handled terrorism and I know about terrorism. Never in my life I have heard of this thing that people can be so inhuman and brutal that they can descend to such low levels of beastly behavior that they can target innocent children in a school. This is something which really shocked and stunned the entire nation. And I think I am also greatly shocked and pained by this.
As I said, we are traveling across this country today to look at this as a moment where two countries divided by history and politics are being united in this hour of grief by what has happened in Peshawar. My next stop is Chennai, where Srisha Reddy is standing by. Srisha, obviously young children, teenagers have all been affected by what they saw. What is the message that they want to give their fellow school children from across the border today? What is it that they want to say to the people of Pakistan?
Well, Rajiv, this incident, what happened in Peshawar, has completely devastated all these children who are standing with me, and they're on a candlelight vigil. If I can ask my camera person to pan in and show you, these children are as old as what have as those children who lost their lives in the Peshawar terror attack. And Chennai, as a city, has also witnessed the terror attack in mid this year. So if I can ask these students, you did see what happened yesterday in Peshawar. What was your first reaction?
I felt really sad, and I wish that we don't have such experience here, as they are the same students as we are, and we have not done much mistakes that we should be punished till death.
So what is your message to Pakistan?
Well, the terrorists from Pakistan shouldn't have done this to very young and small children. This would have been very dark moments in their lives, and I offer my condolences to the family who have lost their near and dear ones.
Right, and those children who lost their lives are as old as you are.
Yes, they are. Actually, it is a very mournful incident. They shouldn't have done this. There's no valid reason why they should do this. And we have a future ahead of us. We're the future of the world. So they should not assassinate children like this.
Right. So he has a very strong message that they are the future of the world, these children, and such things should not happen to children. So what is your reaction to this?
I'm feeling really sad about what has happened, and I just hope that it never happens again, and we would have to feel scared to enter our classrooms.
Well, that's a very strong and valid point that she's making here, that, you know, she's scared to enter into the classroom after this incident happened, what happened in Peshawar, as terror has no boundaries. Do you also feel the same?
Yeah, I do feel the same. I felt very sad when this incident happened. Just imagine the sad and griefful heart of the parents. They would have lots of dreams of their children coming up successfully in their life, but all their dreams are just scattered in a few seconds because of this incident.
Right. So what is your reaction to it? I mean, what is your message to Pakistan? And what was your initial reaction after you saw such visuals on TV screen?
Yeah, I'm feeling very sad about this, and I hope it doesn't repeat again. And we children are not the enemies of anyone, so we want to lead to a peaceful life.
Right. So one strong message, Radhi, what these children are not enemies to anyone, and they should lead a peaceful life, is what the reaction is coming from these children from Chennai.
Let me then go to Bangalore, another city which has been hit by terror in the past. Remember, United in Grief has been our theme, because we believe that what has happened in Pakistan is a turning point for that country, and hopefully is a moment for the two countries to realize what terror really can do to innocent people who have, whether it was 26/11 in Mumbai and now 16/12 in Peshawar. Let me go to our correspondent Pratibha there in Bengaluru. Pratibha, the sense one gets is that children in particular have taken the lead in a way to reach out to fellow children across the border.
True that, Rajdeep, and if I have to wrap up the emotion that Bangalore feels in two words, and that would be grief and anger. And I have with me an organization members that who have always fought for the cause of children, and they are here today standing by me, waiting to say that they stand by those families in Pakistan. Their hearts go out to them, and in fact they are also planning on a candlelight vigil this Friday to ensure that they would drive home the point, drive home the message that they all are here for them. So what is your message to Pakistan, and what has been your reaction as soon as you heard of this attack?
It has been truly sickening. How can you even imagine that somebody will intentionally kill school-going children? That's even incomprehensible for us. You know, and after all this, the politicians are playing, Pakistani politicians are blaming India, and then they want to control terrorism on the Western Front, but nobody talks about Eastern Front. You know, this is the entire attitude of Pakistani politicians is sickening. We are
absolute disappointment there in terms of the attitude with which people have been treating this particular case, and also at the same time there is a sense of great fear, because is India, are the schools in India really equipped enough to handle such kind of an attack? Should it happen here? And that is the question that I pose to you, sir.
Yeah, as I'm a father of children, see, after Pakistani school children's attacked by the terrorists, it's very difficult to send children to the school, and school must have taken safety precautions, and it's very bad news that we are listening about Pakistani government has doing nothing with safety for school children.
Similarly, would the government in India as well take enough steps to ensure safety and protection of children? These are some of the questions, some of the worries. At the same time, their hearts go out to all those people there in Pakistan who are grieving the loss of so many such children. Rajdeep.
I want to go one more moment to Smita Sharma, who's there, because you cover the Ministry of External Affairs, Smita. Is there a sense you are getting that what has happened in Pakistan, could it heal the wounds of recent times? Is there a sense that the Indian government does believe in any way that what has happened across the border will force the Pakistani government, in a sense, to recognize that the merchants of terror are the enemy within, and they cannot afford to have a dual policy to terror? Is that the sense you're getting from the kind of reactions we've seen in Parliament, in schools today, among parents today of this country? The fact that today one of the top trends on Twitter is that India standing by Pakistan. Is there a sense that this could, in a way, become a turning point for the two countries to fight, in a sense, terror jointly?
Well, Rajdeep, you know, India stands with Pakistan. That hashtag, of course, which has been trending, is a gesture which is being appreciated by the civil society in Pakistan, also by its political mainstream. But having said that, I think as far as the Indian diplomatic, the bloc is concerned, or really the political mainstream here is concerned, there is that cautious approach at the moment. While they do think that this is that window of opportunity where Pakistan has to reset ties with neighbors and also look within, really, because the enemy lies within. Till the time it does not stop making distinctions between good and bad Taliban, good and bad enemy, it will not get Pakistan anywhere. But New Delhi really watching it very closely at the moment, not in fact pegging in too much of hope and optimism at the moment. But Nawaz Sharif, we saw those statements coming in after that all-party meeting, which was attended even by Imran Khan, where he of course accepted that, you know, all these options or dialogue with the Taliban have been unsuccessful every time that they have tried getting into talks with the Taliban, and that's why the army operations will now be picking up. Zarb-e-Azab, we are also looking at possible executions of a large number of terrorists, in fact, who are facing death sentence within Pakistan. The Pakistani army chief is also in Afghanistan, talking with his Afghan counterpart, the ISAF forces, to try and get hold of the Taliban commanders who are really responsible for the killing of these innocent children. But will that mean that Pakistan will eventually wake up and also act against all those terror groups, including the Haqqani network? The operators, you know, which have really been striking against India, is something we'll have to wait and watch, Rajdeep.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. We'll have to wait and watch to see whether Pakistan actually acts against terror groups within this country. We've tried to keep the politics and the politicians out of this program today because we know what stated positions are. Therefore, we've tried to go to the future of these two countries, the children of India and Pakistan. Let me first now turn to the voice of a survivor of the Peshawar terror attack, a young student's message to terrorism. He says he will go back to school tomorrow. He and his friends will not bow to terror attacks. Listen in.
सबसे पहले तो मैं बताना चाहता हूँ कि हुआ क्या। हम चौथा पीरियड हो चुका था, हमारे फिजिक्स के सर ने हमें कहा कि चलो आ जाओ ऑडिटोरियम में, आप सारों को बुला रहे हैं। हम ऑडिटोरियम चले गए। वहाँ पे जब हम गए तो हमें बताया गया कि आप लोगों को फर्स्ट एड किट के बारे में बताएंगे और उसका यूजेज बताएंगे। उन्होंने वो ये काम शुरू ही किया था कि अचानक से फायरिंग की आवाज़ें शुरू हो गई। फायरिंग की आवाज़ें आहिस्ता आहिस्ता तेज़ होने लगी। तेज़ होने के साथ साथ हमारे सर ने कहा कि बच्चे डिस्टर्ब हो रहे हैं, बात सही तरह नहीं सुने, तो आप लोग दरवाजे सारे लॉक कर ले। उन्होंने सारे दरवाजे लॉक कर लिए। थोड़ी देर बाद ही फायरिंग दरवाजे पे ही, बैक डोर पे, और दरवाजा उन्होंने किक किया और तोड़ के अंदर आ गए। अंदर आने के साथ उन्होंने ये नहीं देखा कि ये कोई फीमेल टीचर है या फिर कोई मेल सर है या फिर कोई स्टूडेंट है या फिर कोई बच्चा है, वो सिर्फ देख के मारने लगे। मैं खड़ा हुआ तो देखा कि मुझे लगा कि कोई इस तरह हमें ट्रेनिंग दी जा रही है कि इस वक्त पे हम क्या किया जाए, इस वक्त पे क्या करें। मैंने जब वापस देखा तो आर्मी वाले भी थे, वो भी वहाँ पे सर झुकाए बैठे हुए थे। तब मुझे लगा कि हाँ जी कोई परेशानी जरूर है। मैं गया, क्योंकि दरवाजा बंद था, मैंने काफी हिम्मत से दरवाजा खोला और वहाँ पे मेरे साथ जो खड़े थे दोस्त मेरे, उनको गोली लगी और वो उधर ही गिर गए। इसी तरह मैंने फिर उनको सारे अपने दोस्तों को बाहर निकाला, और क्योंकि ऑडिटोरियम से जब हम निकले तो वहाँ पे एक असेंबली ग्राउंड है, उसके बीच में, उसके साथ वॉलीबॉल कोर्ट है, उसके बीच में एक रास्ता गया हुआ है। सारे दोस्त इधर उधर भाग रहे थे। मुझे पता था क्योंकि दो ही लोग नहीं है, काफी ज्यादा हैं, तो मैं सारों को इशारा किया कि इस तरफ आओ, वहां पे ना जाओ, वहां पे और भी हो सकते हैं। वो सारे मेरे पीछे आ गए और हम पार्किंग लॉट में चले गए। पार्किंग लॉट के रास्ते से रोड की तरफ गए। रोड से हम गेट के बाहर निकले। गेट के साथ एक आर्मी वाले अंकल खड़े थे। उन्होंने कहा कि क्यों भाग रहे हो? हमने कहा कि वहां पे ऑडिटोरियम में कोई लोग आए हैं और वो सार को मार रहे हैं गन से।
That young man relating exactly what happened to his friends. As I said, no words are enough today to try and explain the sense of grief that a parent will feel that he has to carry his young lifeless child in a casket to a funeral ground. 132 terror-struck families had to do exactly that today, buried their loved ones. It has happened in this country on numerous occasions. It's happened yesterday in Peshawar. It's clear now that the world has to unite against terror. Terror knows no geographical boundaries. Yesterday was another reminder of that truism. As I said, politics aside, we share the grief of every Pakistani citizen today.